Hi students, other day we have discussed about work done by the system in different processes that we have seen in isothermal process and adiabatic process, and also we discussed about cyclic process, isochoric process, isobaric process, etc. Today we are going to see the applications of work done, and also we will see the major concept of thermodynamics, that is heat engines. Heat engine is nothing but a heat engine. Heat engine is a device which which converts heat energy into useful work done, and this heat engine undergoes 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 cyclic process. In each cyclic process, it absorbs heat energy from hot reservoir and performs some amount of work done, and remaining heat energy will be rejected to sink at low temperature. So see here, there are three parts for the heat engine. It consists of three parts. One part is one is working substance. We also call it as a system. Working substance is nothing but simply here a system, working substance, or simply a system, the system. Okay. Example for this one. Example for the system is nothing but here mixture of mixture of fuel vapor and air in gasoline. మనం గ్యాస్ నుండి అంటాం కదా తెలుగులో అది. అండ్ డీజిల్ in diesel engine, and another example is steam in steam engine. Steam is the working substance or system in steam engines. So these are considered to be working substances. And another one is here, second one is source. This source, or we also call it as hot reservoir. Hot reservoir. Okay. So heat engine absorbs heat energy from the source or hot reservoir at a high temperature. Hot reservoir will be at a high temperature. In that is the system. Sorry, the system goes through cyclic process. Cyclic processes goes through cyclic sorry cyclic processes. In each cyclic process system absorbs heat energy from source or hot reservoir at high temperature T1. Source is at high temperature T1. And one more part of the heat engine is nothing but, a third one is nothing but sink, which is at low temperature. or we also call it as cold reservoir. Cold reservoir. And when the system is passing through different cyclic processes, in each cyclic process, in each cyclic process, system rejects heat energy to the sink. Sink is nothing but here surroundings, to the sink at a low temperature. Sink is available at low temperature after performing useful amount of work done. After performing work done. So this is nothing but sink story. Sink is at always available at low temperature. So see here, here in the operation of diesel engine, that is nothing but car engine or bike engine, petrol is nothing but a working substance, and we need to burn the petrol. So it should be in contact with the source at high temperature. That is, spark plug is nothing but acting like a source at high temperature. And after converting heat energy into mechanical energy, mechanical work done, because of consumption of petrol only, the bike will be moving. That is nothing but heat energy will get converted into mechanical energy in the case of all heat engines, and remaining waste of heat energy, wastage, will be rejected to sink at low temperature. That is, wastage will be rejected to surroundings at low temperatures from the silencer. Okay, these are the three main parts of the heat engines. And see here, and I am going to construct a heat engine, a schematical diagram of heat engine here. And the schematical diagram is nothing but here. And see here, consider this as the heat engine. Consider this is the heat engine, and consider this is nothing but hot reservoir or source at high temperature, hot reservoir. And consider this as the sink at low temperature. Consider it as a cold reservoir. Cold reservoir. Consider the sink is at high temperature, source is at high temperature T1, and sink is at low temperature T2. See, I have told you already, in this case, this heat engine or system, we also call it as system or working substance. This working substance absorbs some amount of heat energy from the hot reservoir at high temperature. It absorbs Q1 amount of heat energy and performs some work done. And this performs some amount of work done, and remaining amount of energy will be rejected to sink at low temperature. The amount of heat energy absorbed, Q1, is nothing but amount of heat energy absorbed from source, and W is nothing but work done by system. That is, some amount of heat will be converted into work done, useful work done by the system. When it absorbs heat energy, always the system will do some amount of work done on the surrounding. And Q2 is nothing but heat rejected by system to surroundings, or sink at low temperature. So this is the schematic diagram of the heat engine, and here work done is nothing but amount of heat absorbed minus amount of heat rejected is nothing but amount of useful work done in this case. Okay, so here work done is nothing but Q1 minus Q2, and efficiency of the heat engine can be found using efficiency of heat engine is given by, we know efficiency is nothing but output by input. What is output here? Here output is nothing but work output. What is the amount of work done? W. Heat input is how much? Q1. So here efficiency eta is equal to work output is nothing but Q1 minus Q2 divided by Q1. So eta is equal to Q1 by Q1 minus Q2 by Q1. Okay, so now eta is equal to 1 minus Q1 by Q1 is nothing but 1 minus Q2 by Q1. So here the efficiency of Carnot engine is given by, efficiency of heat engine is given by 1 minus Q2 by Q1, 1 minus Q2 by Q1 if there is no amount of heat energy rejected to the sink at low temperature. If Q2 is equal to 0, what happens if Q2 is equal to 0? If Q2 is equal to 0, the work done is nothing but simply Q1. Whatever the amount of heat energy absorbed from the source, that will get converted into work done. So this is nothing but, this seems to be odd. That is nothing but if Q2 is equal to 0, eta is equal to 1 simply. Eta equal to 1 or 100%. So no engine in general, in reality, have no 100% efficiency. So efficiency of one person is not, never it is equal to 100%. 100. Efficiency of any heat engine is equal to 100%. This is ideal heat engine, not realistic heat engine. Okay. So if efficiency is equal to 100% or efficiency equal to 1, ఎప్పుడు ఎఫిషియన్సీ 1 అవుతుంది ఇఫ్ అమౌంట్ ఆఫ్ హీట్ ఎనర్జీ రిజెక్టెడ్ టు ద సింక్ ఎట్ లో టెంపరేచర్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు 0. దట్ మీన్స్ వాట్ ఎవర్ ఈజ్ ద అమౌంట్ ఆఫ్ హీట్ ఎనర్జీ అబ్జర్వ్డ్ ఫ్రమ్ ద source at high temperature, the total heat energy will get converted into amount of work done. So this seems to be odd. So whatever you listen in the class, you cannot be able to perform same in the exam. If you perform same in the class, same in the exam, whatever you listen in the class, so that ultimately your efficiency will become 100%. That is 1 or 100%. It is not impossible for any heat engine or any person in general. So this is nothing but this is also. So heat engine developed on the first law of thermodynamics. So note that first law of thermodynamics, the energy conservation law does not rule out in the case of heat engine, but it is not realistic. So okay, so now there is a limitation on the first law of thermodynamics. There is a fundamental limit on the efficiency of heat engine, by principle of nature. That principle is nothing but we call it as the second law of thermodynamics. We will discuss about second law of thermodynamics in later section. Second law of thermodynamics. So second law of thermodynamics keeps some limitations on the first law of thermodynamics, because on our second law of thermodynamics keeps some limitations on the efficiency of heat engine. That efficiency, it tells us that second law of thermodynamics tells us that No heat engine has 100% efficient. Okay, we'll discuss in the later section of class. So the conversion of heat into work varies for different heat engines. Okay, uh, now I'm going to explain about refrigerator, refrigerator or heat pumps, refrigerator or heat pumps. So this principle is the reverse of heat engine. Okay, reverse of heat engine. A refrigerator is a refrigerator is a heat pump which is a reverse of a heat engine. Reverse of a heat engine. It operates differently. Earlier, we absorb heat energy from hot reservoir. Now, this heat pump or refrigerator absorbs some amount of heat energy from the cold reservoir and doing work on the heat engine from externally. Some amount of heat will be rejected to source at high temperature. This is almost reverse to that of a heat engine. So our main aim is to cool down the refrigerator, chamber of a refrigerator. So here the function would be reverse. That is nothing but I am drawing all these factors again. Consider it is a source at high temperature or hot reservoir. We also call it as a hot reservoir, and this is nothing but working substance, and consider this is nothing but sink at low temperature, sink which is available at low temperature. We also call it as a cold reservoir, cold reservoir. So our aim is to cool down the chamber of refrigerator. We know that inside the refrigerator the temperature is low as compared to outside surroundings or environment. So we need to further cool down the chamber of refrigerator. In order to do that, we need to extract heat from the sink at low temperature, and by supplying external work done to it, that is we are supplying he electric energy, that is nothing but we are supplying power to the refrigerator. So this is nothing but work done by external agency. So here external agency is nothing but what? This is our refrigerator, this is our refrigerator, chamber of the refrigerator, which is at low temperature, which is acting like a sink at low temperature, and we cannot able to extract the heat from the cold reservoir without aid of external agency, without power supplying. We cannot absorb the heat energy from the cold reservoir at low temperature without the external power supply. Can we able to suppose if a book is there on the table, by absorbing the internal energy of the table, when the book absorbs the internal energy of the table, will it go to certain heights on its own? No, it will not go to certain heights even when it absorbs internal energy from the table on its own. Someone need to bring the book from lower level to higher level. Similarly, that means we need to perform external work on the book in order to bring from table height to certain 2 meters or 3 meters height. So here our mechanical work done can be stored as a potential energy in the book. But here it is not, book is not going from low level to high level on its own. So here is also the same way, we cannot absorb the heat energy from sink at low temperature without aid of external agency, and we cannot able to reject the heat energy that is absorbed from the sink to source at high temperature. So with the help of external agency, work done by external agency. So Heat energy extracted from the sink at low temperature is nothing but consider work Q2, and amount of work done performed on the system is nothing but W, so that we can able to send some amount of heat energy to the source at high temperature. Consider this is Q1. So here Q1 is nothing but amount of work done plus Q2. So heat energy absorbed plus work done by external agency on the system will be, these two will be rejected in the form of heat to source at high temperature. So Q1 is equal to simply W plus Q2 here. Okay. Now I am going to explain about the coefficient of performance. Coefficient of performance of a refrigerator alpha is given by input by W, Q2 by W. Alpha is equal to Q2, here is nothing but Q2. So from here work done is nothing but Q1 minus Q2. So work done is nothing but Q1 minus Q2. This is coefficient of performance in the case of which is in the case of a refrigerator. Coefficient of performance of refrigerator. So here see, I'm going to explain one more thing here. So coefficient of performance, in this coefficient of performance formula, if work done is equal to 0, if no one is performing work done on the system, that is if we even don't supply the power supply to the refrigerator, if you don't supply the power to the refrigerator, in that case work done is equal to 0. If work done is equal to 0, coefficient of performance of refrigerator equal to Q2 by 0, that means infinite. So the performance of refrigerator is equal to infinite. That means even if we can't supply external power to the refrigerator, it can send its energy from chamber of the refrigerator to source at high temperature. That means chamber of the refrigerator to environment without supply of power or electricity to the refrigerator. Is it possible? No, it is not possible forever. So this also fails. So here, so no refrigerator have infinite performance, and also no heat engine have 100% efficient. So these two are nothing but second law of thermodynamics. Now I am going to explain you about second law of thermodynamics. Second law of thermodynamics. There are two statements. One depends on the heat engine, efficiency of heat engine, and another depends on the coefficient of performance of the refrigerator. So right, the scientist who has given statement on the efficiency of heat engine is Kelvin. Now I am going to explain about Kelvin-Planck statement. Here Kelvin-Planck statement. We discussed about heat engine here. No heat engine has 100% efficient. So here that means it is impossible. That means it is impossible. 100% efficient heat engine is impossible. In reality, it is impossible for any heat engine, to convert, when is 100% efficiency, then when Q1 is equal to W, so there is efficiency is equal to 100%. It is not possible. So it is impossible for any heat engine. I told you already, when Q2 is equal to 0, amount of heat energy rejected to sink at low temperature is equal to 0. If Q2 equal to 0, eta equal to 1, that is 100%. If Q2 equal to 0, that amount of work done is equal to simply Q1. That means whatever the amount of heat energy absorbed from the source, that will be totally get converted into work done. This is not possible for any heat engine. So I am going to tell you in the form of words here. It is impossible for any heat engine to convert total amount of heat energy. Heat energy absorbed from source or hot reservoir to work done solely. Okay, it is impossible for any heat engine to convert total heat energy absorbed from heat source to work done solely. So this is impossible. Q1 is equal to W is impossible. Solely without rejecting heat into surroundings or heat into sink at low temperature. Heat into sink. If Q2 is equal to 0, Q1 equal to W, that means efficiency is equal to 100%, but that is not impossible. I just told in terms of statement like this. It is impossible for any heat engine to convert total heat energy absorbed from source to work done solely without rejecting heat into sink. It is impossible. Okay, and another statement is nothing but Clausius statement. Here, this statement on the basis of coefficient of performance of refrigerator. So alpha is equal to infinite. When alpha is equal to infinite, when we know alpha is nothing but Q2 by W. If W is equal to 0, that is, if there is no external power supply to the refrigerator, refrigerator extract the heat energy from cold reservoir and send it to hot reservoir on its own? No, it is also impossible. So this is in the form of words as. So now Clausius statement as, it is impossible for any refrigerator. It is impossible for any refrigerator to extract heat from cold reservoir and send it to reject it to hot reservoir at high temperature without aid of external agency, without external work done, or without aid of external agency. So it is impossible for any refrigerator to extract heat from the cold reservoir and send it to hot reservoir without work done on the system or without aid of external agency. This is second law of thermodynamics on the basis of refrigerator. Now I am going to explain last topic in this chapter, that is reversible and irreversible processes. Reversible and irreversible. Processes. So here I am going to explain about reversible process. Reversible process is almost impossible process in realistic. So see here, imagine some process in which a thermodynamic system goes from initial state to final state. We know during the process it absorbs some amount of heat energy from the hot reservoir and performs some amount of work done and rejects some amount of heat energy to the sink at low temperature. And in any way, will the system come back to the initial state without changing, without affecting the surroundings? Will it come back from final state to initial state again? No, it is impossible for any process. So reversible process is just idealized process. So no system will come back to initial state, after going through the different states, different processes or different states, it is impossible for any system to come back to its initial state. So that means no process is reversible in nature. So reversible process is just idealized notion. All the processes that occur in the nature are irreversible processes. So the spontaneous process of nature, or all spontaneous processes of nature are reversible process. ఎగ్జాంపుల్, మనం చెరువులో ఒక రాయిని వేసినాం అనుకోండి, ఏమవుతుంది? అవర్ ఎనర్జీ, బికాస్ ఆఫ్ అవర్ ఎనర్జీ వీఆర్ గివింగ్ కైనెటిక్ ఎనర్జీ టు ద స్టోన్. వెన్ ఇట్ ఈస్ థ్రోన్ ఇన్ టు ద పాండ్, it will disturb the water in the pond and form some ripples on the water. Okay, so it losing the kinetic energy, the stone is losing the kinetic energy. By giving all the energy of the ripples to the stone, will the stone come back to our hand again? No, it is impossible. Isn't it right? సో వస్తున్న దాంట్లో రిపుల్స్ అన్నీ కూడా మళ్ళీ స్టోన్కి ఎనర్జీ ఇస్తే స్టోన్ దానంతట అదే వచ్చి మన చేతిలో పడుతుందా? నో. సో ఒకవేళ చేతిలో పడితే అది రివర్సబుల్ ప్రాసెస్, బట్ ఇట్ విల్ నాట్ హ్యాపెన్. దట్ ఈస్ నథింగ్ బట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎ ఇర్రివర్సబుల్ ప్రాసెస్. ఓకే, ఒక పేపర్ని చింపినాం అనుకోండి, ఇష్టం ఉన్నట్టు ముక్కలు చింపేసినాం, ఒక 10 ముక్కలు చింపినాం. 10 ముక్కలు చింపిన తర్వాత అన్ని ముక్కల్ని అతుకు పెడితే విల్ ఇట్ బ్యాక్ ఇన్ టు ద సేమ్ షేప్ అగైన్? నో, ఇట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో నాట్ బ్యాక్ ఇన్ టు ద సేమ్ షేప్ అగైన్. So it is also a reversible process. And a fusion of gas from a సిలిండర్ నుంచి గ్యాస్ బయటకు వచ్చింది అనుకోండి, ఆ గ్యాస్ అంతా ఒకటే రూమ్లో వేసి మళ్ళీ లోపలికి పోమంటే పోతుందా సిలిండర్ లోపలికి? విల్ ఇట్ గెట్ బ్యాక్ ఇన్ టు ద సిలిండర్ అగైన్ ఆన్ ఇట్స్ ఓన్? నో. సో ఇట్ విల్ నాట్ గో బ్యాక్ ఇన్ టు ద సిలిండర్ ఆన్ ఇట్స్ ఓన్. సో ఎ ఫ్యూజన్ ఆఫ్ గ్యాస్ ఫ్రమ్ ద సిలిండర్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో irreversible process. Suppose we are dropping a glass from certain height, 2 మీటర్స్ హైట్ నుంచి ఒక డ్రింకింగ్ వాటర్ గ్లాస్ని పడేస్తున్నాం అనుకోండి కింద, ఏమవుతుంది? గాజు గ్లాస్ని పడేస్తున్నాం. ఇట్ విల్ బ్రోకెన్ ఇన్ టు లార్జ్ నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ పీసెస్. బై కంబైనింగ్ ఆల్ ద పీసెస్, విల్ ద గ్లాస్ బీ ఫార్మ్డ్ ఇన్ టు సేమ్ షేప్ అగైన్? నో. విల్ ఇట్ కమ్ బ్యాక్ టు ద సేమ్ హైట్ అగైన్? ఆ పీసెస్ అన్ని సేమ్ హైట్కి తీసుకొచ్చినాం అనుకోండి, విల్ ఇట్ బీ బ్యాక్ ఇన్ టు ద గ్లాస్ షేప్ అగైన్? నో, it is also irreversible process. So all these processes are irreversible in nature. So nature always tends towards irreversibility. Okay, so the reversible process is nothing but what? If a system bring back to its initial state after going through different states without affecting surroundings is called a reversible process. But this is idealized notion. Not exist in reality. Idealized notion but not exist in reality. Now I am going to explain about the irreversible process. Irreversible process is nothing but the spontaneous processes of nature, or that occurs in nature are irreversible. All the processes that occur in nature are irreversible. Now I am going to discuss about problems here. Problem set. This chapter has only Two problems. Two problems only. Wait a minute. Rotate right side. Okay. So here the first question is about okay, if a monoatomic ideal gas of volume 1 liter at NTP, natural temperature and pressure, and that means temperature here is nothing but 273 Kelvin, initial temperature T1 equal to 273 Kelvin, is compressed adiabatically to half of its volume. V1 is equal to V and V2 is equal to half of its initial volume, that is nothing but V by 2. Then find the work done on the gas. It is a adiabatic condition. So work done by adiabatic is nothing but NR by 1 minus gamma into T2 minus T1. So here we need to find out N value here. N is nothing but number of moles. We know number of moles is nothing but 22.4 liters. 22.4 liters of gas is equivalent to 1 mole. So here our capacity is given how much? Here it is given as 1 liter. So for 1 liter the number of moles is equal to 1 by 22 moles. So the number of moles N is equal to 1 by 22. We know this. R is nothing but 8.314 joules per kg per Kelvin. Per kg per Kelvin. And gamma is given. Gamma is equal to 5 by 3. And we don't know temperature T2. Initial temperature T1 is equal to how much? 273. So there is a relation between temperature and volume in case of adiabatic process. In case of adiabatic process, the relation between pressure and volume is PV power gamma is equal to constant. Similarly, there is a relation between temperature and volume. TV power gamma minus 1 is equal to constant. That means T1 V1 power gamma minus 1 equal to T2 V2 power gamma minus 1. Okay, so T2 is equal to T1 into V1 power gamma minus 1 divided by V2 power gamma minus 1. So here T2 is equal to T1 is 273 into V1 by V2, that is V1 is nothing but V, V2 is nothing but V by 2 to the power of gamma minus 1, that is 5 by 3 minus 1. So from here that is T2 is equal to 273 into 2 to the power of 2 by 3. 5 by 3 minus 1 is nothing but 2 by 3. From this you will get to know T2 value by substituting T2 here and T1, N value, R value, 1 value, gamma value. You will get the answer for work done. So it will be turned out as work done in adiabatic process will be turned out as minus 89 joules. Substitute in this formula after getting T2 value. Okay, and BBT is nothing but what is the work done if the compression is isothermal. In isothermal process, work done is equal to nRT log V2 by V1. So here N is nothing but 1 by 22, R is nothing but 8.314 into T is nothing but 273 into ln V2 by V1. V2 is nothing but V by 2 divided by V. So by solving this you will get the answer for work done in isothermal process as well. So next one, I am going to explain you second problem here. 5 moles of hydrogen when heated through 20 Kelvin. That is number of moles is equal to 5 and change in temperature is equal to 20 Kelvin and expand by an amount of 8.3 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter cube and change in volume is equal to 8.3 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter cube. Okay, at a constant pressure of under a constant pressure of 10 to the power of 5 Newton per meter square at 10 to the power of 5 pascals. Right, if Cv is equal to 20 joules per mole per Kelvin, and CV is equal to 20 joules per mole per Kelvin. What is CP? Find CP here. We know CP minus CV is equal to R. Multiplying both sides with R delta T, N delta T. Multiply both sides with N delta T. So N is nothing but number of moles, delta T is nothing but change in temperature. That is Cp minus Cv into N delta T is equal to Nr delta T. We know P delta V is equal to Nr delta T. So substitute this Nr delta T with P delta V. So here N delta T into Cp minus Cv is equal to P delta V here. Here N is nothing but 5 and delta T is 20 into Cp minus Cv is nothing but how much? 20 is equal to P. P is how much? P is given as 10 to the power of 5 into delta V is how much? 8.3 into 10 to the power of minus 3. So here what is unknown? Cp is unknown. You will get the answer by solving this equation. Okay. So and also I would like to tell you something here. We know equation of ideal gas equation is nothing but ideal gas equation. Okay, in ideal gas equation we know pressure into volume. Wait. Pressure into volume is equal to nRT. We know work done in thermodynamic process is given by P into delta V, that is pressure into volume. Pressure into volume has the units of pressure into volume has the units of work done, What are the units of work done? They are in joules. Work done units are joules. SI system of units for work done are nothing but joules. So pressure into volume units, the product of pressure and volume units are nothing but joules, is equal to, for N is nothing but number of moles, the units are mol mole. R is nothing but universal gas constant R. T is nothing but temperature. For temperature, the SI system of units are Kelvin. So therefore the units for R, universal gas constant R is given by joule per mole per Kelvin. So these are the units of universal gas constant R. This is the end of the class, students. Have a nice day. Bye bye.